Hello and welcome. This is Michelle. I'm so glad you could stop by and spend a little bit of time with me in my craft room today. Prepare to be dazzled. That's right. I said it. I'm using the Dazzling Diamonds in this video, so I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful Christmas card using this Dazzling Diamonds glitter. And let's go ahead and bring that card sample in. And I don't know if you guys can get the full effect of this through the camera, but I'm hoping it's picking up all that gorgeous glitteriness on this card. You didn't think I was going to get through July without making a Christmas card now, did you? I know I'm squeaking it in at the very end, but I thought I need to get a Christmas card started. So if you're new to my channel, it's all about providing inspiration and teaching you how to turn your paper, stamps, and ink into beautiful cards, gifts, or home decor projects. Make sure you don't miss out on any future videos. Hit that red subscribe button down below, ring the bell, and you'll get notified whenever there are new releases. So let's go ahead and get started on today's project. All right, so here is the card that we're going to make. Again, let me go ahead and bring in my paper, and we've got some other specialty products we're going to be using today, so I'm going to give a run through of everything. I've done a lot of pre-cutting and die cutting because I want to focus on the technique with the Dazzling Diamonds glitter and make that the primary focus. So I have a piece of balmy blue, and this is our card base. It's cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25, and I've got a piece of Whisper White, our standard matting size of 4 inches by 5.25. I've got a piece of, let me go ahead and get this mat out. I had that in for background. I've got a piece of, another piece of balmy blue, and this is just cut slightly smaller than our frame, so I may trim this down a little when we get done, but right now it is, I believe, 3 7/8 and 5 1/8, so just slightly smaller than the standard mat size. Now I've cut this piece of Night of Navy, and it is on the outside 4 by 5.25. And then I've used our stitched rectangle dies to cut that out and this piece. So let me go ahead and bring those in. If you're not familiar with these, it's a great set of layering dies, and you get a whole set of these larger nesting rectangles, and then these that are more of a long narrow, and then this kind of it's a little bit closer to a square. I know it's not a square, but it's a little short and squat one. So I've actually taken and die cut out a variety of pieces, one in each color. So I have these, I keep them in my case so that when I am doing projects, I can grab these pieces out and use them to assess which one of the dies I need to use. So for this one, I did use the from the outside in on here, I used the 3rd and the 5th one of the largest to create this one. I used the third largest size to create the inside of the Night of Navy. And then for our silver foil, isn't that so pretty? I love it. So for the silver foil piece, I used the 3rd and the 5th largest ones. So I also have a piece of that silver foil cut out with our layering circles dies, as well as a piece of balmy blue that we're going to use for the sentiment. And for that one, I used the 3rd smallest, so that would be this size. So this is the smallest, 2nd, 3rd smallest, and then the same thing, 1, 2, 3rd smallest on the scalloped for the layering piece. If you don't have these dies, they're great. They're kind of go-tos for me. They're wonderful for layering things up. And you always know you're going to be able to get a perfectly matched matting piece. And then the stitching on those rectangles is just beautiful. So that is our paper. I'm going to go ahead and put those to the side there. I also have a piece of this permanent adhesive, and I will put a link to this below so that you can get these sheets. Are great for this technique. I've got some dimensionals. For our stamp, I'm bringing in the Rustic Retreat, and this is a great stamp set for a lot of things, but I just thought I love this little image of the house and the trees in the background. We're going to use this deer on the inside and the sending warm Christmas wishes. For my inks, I'm pulling in my Memento Tuxedo Black and my Night of Navy. Of course, I have my Dazzling Diamonds. And when I'm working with mine, I'll show you a couple of tips on how I try and keep that a little bit neater. And then I've also brought in some of these rhinestones and my Take Your Pick tool. So those are all of the supplies. We can go ahead and get started creating. Okay, so I had a little bit of a audio issue with this part of the video, so I'm just doing a voiceover for you guys. I'm taking my Night of Navy ink and I am going to stamp that deer image. Now, I know deer aren't Night of Navy, but I'm taking a little liberty here and trying to stay with kind of a monochromatic theme here with the blues. I know we've got the touch of silver there, but I didn't want to go off track and put some brown in there. I just like this color combination. And don't forget that colors like your Night of Navy, early espresso, those are some great neutrals to pull in as well, so they can read as a neutral. So we're going to talk a little bit about masking techniques. This is a piece I prepared earlier because I was working on some other cards. I made a few of these before deciding to film a video for you guys. And what I did is I just took that stamp and I stamped it on some grid paper, and then I fussy cut out around that image. So fussy cut's just using your scissors to cut close around an image. This set does not have a die, corresponding die set with it, so I had to do my fussy cutting. So we're going to go ahead and take that little cabin image, and I just want to make sure it's got some really good ink on it because there's lots of detail in there. And I'm going to press that down once my paper's all lined up nice and neat. I'm going to press that down into the middle of the cardstock, slightly a little bit higher towards the top maybe. And then I'm going to bring that masking piece in. Now that's going to cover up that cabin so I can take my trees and stamp over that piece without getting the image over the cabin. I'm just making sure that I've got that lined up where it's not sticking out over the edge, so I don't have any gaps in my ink there. And I'm just going to put that down, and that just gives the look that that's coming from behind the cabin. It gives you that depth when you use this masking technique. And let me go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. If you haven't done masking before, it might be a little counterintuitive, at least it was for me. For me, I kind of wanted to work from the back forwards, and you actually work from your front image backwards. So you stamp the image you want closest in the forefront, mask that off, and then stamp the next layer back, mask off, and so on until you have your full image that you want. So then I'm bringing in this adhesive sheet that I will put a link to that below. It's not something we're carrying in the current catalog, but I will put a link where you can find that. I'm hoping we'll get that back in because I think it's really very handy to have. But I'm making sure that I get that down without any bubbles in there. So I'm taking a moment to get that clear, or get that straight and tight. And then I'm going to come on the other side and I'm going to go ahead and press it down. And then I'm going to bring in my bone folder and give it some other really good creasing. I just want to make sure that, or good pressure, I want to make sure that that adhesive is all going to stick to the card front when I pull that off. So I did that again on the front. And before I pull that sheet off, I'm going to get my Dazzling Diamonds ready. And I'm going to bring in my coffee filter. That's what I use to contain the glitter or embossing powder when I'm working with it. And I also have these partial Swiffer duster sheets that I cut up into little rectangles, and they're great for capturing glitter. They get those little bitty pieces up. So I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but give me a thumbs up and let me know when and where in the comments you found glitter in crazy places. I know I've gone to work 3 days after working on something with glitter, so it hasn't even been the next day right away, and somebody's like, "You've got some glitter on your cheek." And I think, where did that come from? So this stuff, it just likes to hang around a lot. So those Swiffer sheets are really handy to get as much of it up as possible. I can't promise you're going to get all of it though. So I'm going ahead and putting that Dazzling Diamonds on there, and I'm not worried that I don't have adhesive going all the way to the edge because this is going to be matted, this piece. So I don't really need it. I really don't even need as big of a piece as I have this on, but it was just easier to work with that larger sheet than to be trimming it down. And I'm trying to pour this back in, but this is a really full jar, so I'm missing a little bit. I think I'm going to have to get a larger container to keep this in. I don't know why this stuff seems to just multiply. I don't know why it doesn't go back in as easily. It seems like there's more of it when I try and pour it back in, and I've already used it on a few projects, but I haven't gone through very much at all. It just lasts a long time when you get a jar of this, just like your embossing powders. You're going to get tons and tons of use out of it. So I'm going to come back in. I'm going to put that backing sheet on the front again, and I'm just using my bone folder to press that glitter into the adhesive and make sure that it's really pressed down in there. So I'm trying to eliminate as much of the loose glitter as possible. So I'm going to take that backing sheet off and look at that shine. I love this look. It makes for just such an impressive, beautiful card, and really simple cards you can make with this because you use that technique and you get that beautiful shimmer of that glitter, and you don't really need to do much more. Now I did step this one up some because I added the silver foil and the matting layers and did some extra work. So here's where I'm realizing I pre-cut these pieces, and look at this. It's wonky. So when I put that center rectangle down to cut it out, I did not get it even. It must have shifted on me. I didn't bring out my magnetic platform. The sample one straight, this one not. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with it and come up with a fix. So I don't like to just toss stuff, especially if I've got partway into a project, and I'm hoping that I can show you guys some ideas on how you can fix your errors. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who makes errors, but I'm thinking maybe not. So I'm bringing that back off and putting some extra Tombow glue on there because while you usually only need to use a very little bit of this adhesive, with that glitter, it needs a little bit of extra love with the glue. So don't put so much that's squeezing out the sides, but you are going to have to be more generous with it than normal. And then I'm going to go ahead and matte with that Night of Navy piece there as well and get that on. I'm pressing that down, make sure it's really good, adhered really well there. And then we're going to put that Night of Navy piece around the outside. I love that look of those colors. I was just kind of lining that up, trying to figure out if I could come up with some way of fixing my wonky layer there, and I decided no, that wasn't the place to fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on, and we're going to trim that off. When I got that glued down, I realized that it's showing a little bit on the side there. You can see down towards the bottom where that balmy blue just barely goes over in one corner, the Night of Navy. So I took and trimmed that off and decided I was going to get that little bit of edge off and then figure out where the next step is. So I've got that all adhered down on my card front now, and you can really see that, how that's wonky. Yes, it's bugging me. So if it's bugging you, I'm sorry, because it's also bothering me. But we're going to keep pushing through. And I have a piece of balmy blue, and I stamped it in. On the left is the Memento Black. The right is the Night of Navy. I decided to go with the Night of Navy like I did on my sample card. I just wanted to show you guys the different look and play around and find color combinations that you like. I have that matted on a piece of the silver foil, and I used my layering circles with that. And again, I used the third and fifth, or the third smallest circle and the third smallest scallop on that. And I'm going to go ahead, I put that on with some dimensionals. I think I might have cut that part out of the video here, and then I put the layer on the inside of our card, and we've got that finished up. And I'm sitting here looking at this going, I brought in some little pieces of twigs and extra silver foil and tried playing with that, and I didn't like that. So coming in, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra bling. You know, we got glitter, we got foil, why not add a little bit more bling, right? So I'm going to show you now how I fixed this wonky layer. Well, sometimes mistakes can become happy accidents. So what I did to mask that wonky frame that I had is I just cut a smaller frame in the Night of Navy to make another layer and really zoom in on that focal image. And I think I actually really like that. So let me know, which one do you prefer? Do you like the triple matted or the double matted one? I think they're both beautiful, and they both have that lovely dazzling diamonds, but you know, they each have their distinct look about them as well. So thanks for sticking with me while I fixed my mistakes. I hope you found it helpful for you as you go through your crafting. Maybe next time you have an error, you can pull this out of your bag and fix it instead of forgetting about it. Until we meet again, make sure you grab your paper, stamp, and ink and do something creative.